What's good, everyone? The new Call of Duty just came out, and I'm playing some zombies in the background of today's video. And I got a fight story for you guys today. This took place when I was 18 years old. And it was pretty much a normal day. I had woken up, and me and my friend, we're gonna call him Jeff. Me and Jeff had plans to hang out for the day, and Jeff comes to my house, and we're trying to figure out what to do. There's really not much to do. We were really trying to just kill time until we got paid again, because we didn't have any weed, we didn't have any cigarettes, and at the time, I had the occasional cigarette whenever I was hanging out with Jeff, and Jeff had the cigarettes on deck, but at this time, he didn't, and I didn't have any weed. I was the one who had the weed, but we had no weed, no cigarettes, and no money, because we were waiting to get paid. So me and Jeff were just trying to bear until we got to the end of the week when we got paid, and on this day, we decide we're not going to sit in the house. We're not going to just sit around in the house and play video games or watch TV. So we go out, we walk around the neighborhood. Eventually we'll walk over to the next neighborhood, and my other friend lives in the neighborhood. Now I haven't seen him for a few years. It's been like 5 years since I've seen him. I didn't even know he still lived in the neighborhood. Me and Jeff just knocked on the door and asked if he was home, and then there he was. So we were hanging out with him for a while, and we were just in the backyard. We were shooting off some BB guns, having a good time. And this friend that me and Jeff were hanging out with, he didn't smoke. And I kind of already knew that, since I knew his parents were really strict from all the times I hung out with him like 5 years prior. So we're sitting out there, we're shooting some BB guns, and Jeff asks him if he smokes, because I guess we were fiending a little, and we were going to ask if this guy could smoke us out, but I had a feeling that, since his parents were so strict that he didn't have any weed and he didn't smoke. And I was right. He didn't have any weed, and he did not smoke. Me and Jeff were a little disappointed, but the day goes on, and eventually our friend goes home, and me and Jeff continue to walk around the neighborhood until we get to the park, and I almost didn't recognize the park at first, because a few years back when I was hanging out with the other friend, there was the park, and then there was the forest, and the forest was really big. There's a lot of service roads and stuff, and there's like a school behind it, and other neighborhoods, like 3 other neighborhoods that the forest was around. So it was pretty big, but the forest wasn't there. Instead, they were building this neighborhood. It was just this big flat land of dirt with like trees that were half down and piled up for loggers to take. And there was some construction vehicles, the big ones with the big shovels on them and stuff like that, and dump trucks. But nobody was there, so me and Jeff walked over there. It was a few acres. It was a pretty big space. They had these big, huge retention ponds that they were digging up and had the pumps to dump water in, and they had this drain, this concrete structure that you can walk inside of, and it led out to the retention pond, but there was no water in the retention pond or the drain. So we were just chilling in there, and the whole time we were chilling in there, Jeff keeps telling me, he's like, we should have gotten something to smoke, we should have come up with some money, this place is cool. And it really was a cool place. I really wish we did light up there, but now it's a neighborhood, and now houses are on top of where we were hanging out. But eventually we have to leave, and we're leaving the neighborhood. We get to the exit of the neighborhood, and the exit is a mile away from where the drain was. So we walked a pretty far distance that day, and we walk even more. And my other friend, we're gonna call her, what are we gonna call her? We're gonna give her a name. We're gonna call her Samantha. So Samantha lives a couple of blocks from the other neighborhood with the drain. And so I text her, I'm like, hey, me and Jeff, we've been walking all day, do you think your parents could drive us home? And Samantha's like, sure, come over. So we're there in 15 minutes. We get there, and Samantha's just chilling in the front yard, and she's sitting on this chair. There's all kinds of crazy stuff in the front yard. There's all kinds of decorations and chairs and stuff like that. And we sit down, and Samantha tells us that it's gonna be a couple minutes because her dad needs to get ready. So we're like, okay, cool. So we're just sitting out there, we're chilling. And Samantha starts showing us around the property. She's showing us all these crazy things. She's showing us all these lawn tools and these bicycles and exercise equipment that's sitting out there, and all this other random stuff like fishing poles and dog cages and random car parts and just random tools and lawn things just all over the backyard and this whole entire property. And then Samantha brings us over to this shed, and she opens it, and it's just completely full from the floor to the ceiling. It's just full of boxes and crates and stuff like that. And Jeff is looking in there. We're all looking in there. And Jeff's like, you don't really need all this stuff, do you? And Samantha's like, no. And he starts taking the spray paint and some pocket knives and all kinds of stuff. And he throws all the stuff he took from the shed into my backpack. All the spray paint and the tools and the pocket knives and stuff. And after he zips up my backpack, Samantha's like, hey, my brother's got some cigarettes on the porch. And me and Jeff were pretty excited to hear about this. So I go over there and I take one for each of us off of the porch. And there was 2 cartons sitting up there, but I just took 3. One for me, one for Jeff, and one for Samantha. We're sitting in the front yard. We're finishing up these cigarettes, and we finish them. And Jeff's like, that's not enough. And he goes over to the porch, and he picks up the 2 cartons, and he throws them in my backpack. And Jeff's throwing all the stuff into my backpack because he doesn't have a backpack. You know, he just got his pockets and nothing else. And we walk back over to hang out with Samantha again. She was just sitting on her phone, sitting on the chairs in the front yard. And we sit down, we go and join her. We're sitting on our phones too. And we're waiting for the dad to get out and be ready. And eventually he does. And he comes out and he's not ready. He says, did you guys see the brothers' cigarettes? And we're all like, oh, no, we did not. We didn't see them. What are you talking about? Cigarettes? And the dad's like, oh, okay. He's like, why don't you guys go get in the car? I'll be there in 5 minutes. So that's what we do. We get in the car. The dad goes back inside, so we're just chilling in the car, and a couple seconds later the brother comes out, and he looks mad. He's rushing towards the car. He's walking really fast, and he's like, I know you guys have my cigarettes. Give them back. And me and Jeff and Samantha, we were all telling him that we don't have his cigarettes. And Samantha knew we took the cigarettes, but she was standing up for us because her brother was honestly an asshole. He was just not a nice person, to put it simply, and I'll get to that in just a moment. So, me and Jeff, we're sitting in the back seat. They're arguing. Everybody's arguing, yelling. And the brother's like, empty your bag. I know you have the cigarettes. Empty it. You have to empty it. I'm going to call the police on you, and you're going to get arrested. And he's just like threatening us and going crazy at this point, and he just rips Jeff out of the car and onto the ground. Like, Jeff was just sitting in the back seat with his hand rested, like, up onto the handle on the roof of the car. And they're just, like, punching each other and throwing each other around. And at one point, Jeff, like, literally hits his head on this hitch that's on the car. And I hear it make, like, this metal ding sound, so it must have hurt. But they continue fighting, and the brothers got him in a chokehold, and at this point, the dad is out there, and he's trying to separate them, and it took him like a full minute to separate them, but once they were separated, they like took a couple of deep breaths, and like they were tired, and then like a second later, the brother pulls a knife on him, and they start tackling each other, and then eventually, like another full minute later, the dad separates them again, and the brother's just tired, everybody's just tired, so he goes inside. The dad's like, I'll buy you another pack of cigarettes. And those words were just enough to calm the brother down. So he goes inside, and we go on this very quiet and awkward car ride home. And yeah, that pretty much is it for the story today. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yes, we did end up smoking those cigarettes, and we made sure to enjoy them because it was not worth all that bullshit. I'm going to be posting another video later this week, so follow me on Instagram if you want to know when, and peace.